Welcome to sunny Los Angeles, Chile. We are 500 kilometers south of the capital, Santiago, and after today, the first champion of South America will be crowned in rugby league. Yesterday, we saw two qualifying games. Argentina 36 overcame Colombia 4, and Chile 54 overcame Brazil 8. So consequently, we have a Chile-Argentina final. This was probably what most people would have predicted before the game, but it's difficult really to pick who will be the winner. Two teams with a comprehensive victory yesterday in qualifying. Last year was a bit of an upset. We had a nines tournament, and Argentina overcame Chile in that 16 points to nil, 4 tries to nil there. We have seen for the last 3 to 4 years, Chile really being the dominant Latin American country in rugby league. They, of course, have a fairly strong contingent in Australia due to basically immigration in the late 1970s and early 1980s, where many came over with the regime that was in place in Chile, prompting that move. But this weekend, there's only 4 players with Australian heritage in this Chilean side. They've travelled across, paid their own way to be here. Argentina is 100% homegrown. They've formed a team primarily from the Buenos Aires province, with many coming from Entre Rios as well, up north. We have seen that the home of Argentina Rugby League has been Miramar and Mar del Plata to the south of Buenos Aires, but in the last year they've expanded closer to the capital, which is a strong sign for rugby league there. The Chilean domestic side, they are predominantly from this area, Los Angeles in the south, which has been the stronghold of rugby league in this area, and further to the north in Antofagasta, which is it's almost 2,000 kilometers north of here. There's another pocket has formed. So there's been some great groundwork by the Chileans, actually. They have 13 clubs and a Super League competition, which forms of the 6 elite men's teams that just concluded its first season here in Chile, with Mariman Negrete being the champions of that competition. We're currently going through the national anthems from both sides. They're facing off, which has added some spice to the occasion. For those of you who are unaccustomed, Argentina has one of the longest national anthems in the world, so this has been quite an epic feast to open the encounter. And no doubt Chile's going to return fire full of brimstone as well. While we have the final notes coming out of the Argentinian team, I might just run through the teams. We currently, for this Latin American Rugby League Championships decider, the teams are Argentina with numbers at fullback 15, Juan Ignacio Canepa. On the wings is Ignacio Traversa and Fernando Lopez. In the centres, Dario Moyano and Gustavo Cosso. Ariel Cosso is at 5'8". The halfback Facundo Lizazue. Yesterday we saw some really enterprising play by Facundo, and I think he's quite a danger player for this final. Going forward from there, Marcelo Villalva, Gaston Barrera at hooker. The other front rower, Sebastian Montenegro. We have in the second row, Juan de Rivera and Matias Pereira. At lock, Lucas Escobar. Rounding out the bench is Ares Martinez, Luciano Jimenez, Ariel Baldo, and Emiliano Romero. The coach for the Argentinians is Pablo Aguilera. Chile will be coached, conversely, by Rodrigo Miller, a Australian-based coach who was born and raised in Santiago, Chile, but has played for many clubs across New South Wales and Queensland. He has named at fullback an interesting one, Mana Castillo Sione, who usually plays lock or even front row, but he's suited up at fullback for this game. On the wing, Zesso Yao and Ferek Cabezas. The centres are Jamie Santander and Mateos Fernandez. At at 5'8" is what many would consider their danger player, James Horvat. He has at halfback Aldo Di Montecristo. The front rowers are brothers Franco Diaz and Piero Diaz. We saw Piero score 3 tries yesterday. Quite a danger man and probably the most talented player of the domestic Chileans. At hooker is Jonathan Espinoza, a very well experienced player from Australia, and he also scored a hat-trick yesterday in beating Brazil 54-8. We have in the second row Eduardo Wegener. Eddie is about 120 kilos, so quite a handy second rower to have, but also skillful with his hands. His second row partner is Taylor Salas, and at lock is Francisco Leiva, the captain. You can hear now they're just chanting the final bars of the Chilean anthem. And so rounding out the bench is Carlos Ramirez, Christian Alviel, Luis Pizarro, and Gabriel Venturelli. And we're underway. Horvat takes the ball and immediately hands on to second rower Eddie Wegener. You can see a crowd forming on the side there. We're at Cancha Seven Rios, which is the home ground here in Los Angeles. Espinoza is feeding the ball out quite well. Horvat takes it forward. Wegener out to his winger, but the defense from Argentina is strong. Just some background on the referee here. So the referee is Juan Perez, and he signalled a rake, a stolen ball there over the sideline. Juan Perez is actually, he's a former elite academy referee with the Queensland Rugby League. So he's was within the National Rugby League system, and he's been an official in quite a few state league games back in Queensland. But he's born in Santiago, Chile, and he's the highest credentialed Spanish speaking referee that we're aware of. So he's made the trek out to officiate this first final. Espinoza restarts play, out to Wegener, taking the ball forward, and he's chopped down. Good tackle there by the hooker from Argentina, Gaston Barrera. Number 20 there for the Chileans is Aldo Di Montecristo. He's the biggest player. Oh, and they've broken away straight away. Oh, that's the winger Zessel Yao. We've seen he's one of the northern Chileans, and he showed a bit of talent. He knows where to pop up. And as they spread the ball out there, he ran onto that quite comfortably. I expect here that 5'8" James Horvat will take the conversion. He's usually quite an accurate kicker. Plays back home in Australia for the for the Hills Bulldogs. And you can hear that the referees having a few words to the players, just getting them to calm down. It's been a bit of a heated opening and a heated few days. It's quite a unique situation in that all these teams are rooming at the same location in a town called Santa Barbara, which is just south of the main city of Los Angeles. And so they've been sort of rubbing shoulders as they've been going around their business. And we've seen a lot of the teams interacting, helping each other out, but there's obviously been a bit of rivalry there between Chile and Argentina, who, were both, I guess, heading into this predicting they would be champions. Okay, and Horvat's kick is waved away there, so unsuccessful, and Chile is ahead 4-0. I think one of the things we've seen a difference between these two teams in style is that Argentina love to spread the ball. They're very enterprising with their play, and they like to hit the edges, whereas Chile is very much a safety first kind of strategy around the ruck, trying to dig in behind the ruck. And I guess that's a product of having played for quite a few years with an Australian contingent in their ranks. Horvat takes the ball again. I'm not sure why Argentina are kicking to the player that many would say to be the best player on the Chilean side. And again, we can see they've interfered with the ruck, the Argentinians. they do struggle a little bit with some discipline around the ruck, and that just comes from having a little bit less experience. They're not quite sure of the technicalities. Their players are playing week to week without necessarily the jurisdiction in the play the ball that we've had in this tournament. There's quite a few officials actually on the sideline there. We have delegates that have travelled down from all across Latin America, including Fanny Sareva, who is here from El Salvador, eager to take the sport back there domestically. We know El Salvador has been playing for a few years in Australia. They're currently ranked within the top 40, but they're going to build a domestic base so they can forge ahead, and I think that'll be a huge step for the game in that part of the world, and will also help the Mexicans who are nearby and have had a competition for 3 years there. You can see Espinoza trapped out of dummy half. They're not making many grounds here. Horvat with the ball again. Held up. Okay, he's passed that to Castillo-Sione. Strong run there. As mentioned, he was moved to fullback, usually plays in the forwards. Aldo de Montecristo is chopped down, a big fella, but he hasn't quite got the ball there. And that kick from Horvat has gone dead. So this will be the first good chance of Argentina with the ball in this game. I would be looking for the Cosso brothers, to be hitting the ball on the edges, and halfback Lizard's Way to be spreading it out to them. Their captain is the fullback, Juan Ignacio Canepa too. So in the first day, he copped an injury, and we haven't seen the best of him, so eager to see what he can do. Yeah, and as mentioned, one of the Cosso brothers, they're twins, so sometimes hard to tell apart. That's Gabriel Cosso offloading to his twin Ariel. Very strong run there, and we're seeing some of the potential of Argentina. They're very new to this sport, but they're very, very skillful. Again, Liz's Way there, going for the chip over the top. Not what you'd see from most of the established rugby league nations, but it did against Brazil yesterday. This kind of play worked for them, and they really unsettled the team and caught them off guard. So, okay, we can see here referee Juan Perez is getting frustrated with Chilean captain, Chilean 5'8" James Horvat. He's given him a warning there for some of the language and some of the play he's using. But he takes direction again. Wegner, he's shouldering a big workload early on, and already into this game taken at least 3 or 4 hit-ups. Switch of play. Oh, that's over to Francisco Leiva. Shovels the ball out wide. As Essel Yao gets up to play the ball. Oh, again, Eddie Wegner. Big effort. Two hit-ups in this first 3 tackles. You can see they're using the pivot quite well. I'm not sure if you could see there, but number 4, Matias Fernandez, he is one of the players. They came into camp and grabbed a pair of clippers, and they've shaved their head in all number of sort of hot cross bun scenarios. Oh, fantastic play. They've spread the ball out. Oh, and that's called back. You can see Horvat regathered out to that dangerous left side combination of Wegner and Zessel Yao, but the pass has been deemed forward. So referee Perez just giving some directions to the Argentinians on how we'd like to see them restart this play. And I would say they're going to spread the ball wide here. That's exactly it. Hitting the 2-man pass onto the edge. And again, they're going to test it out. Oh, the hooker. He was named at hooker, but he looks like he's moving around a bit. So who's that in it? It's number 20, Ariel Bordeaux, is in at hooker. Oh, we can see there the strength and just that raw running power of Ariel Cosso, again twin of Gustavo. He's been tackled over the sideline, and now the Argentinian officials are getting in the faces of the Chilean players. As I said, this has been a really heated build-up here, and anybody that follows South American sport in particular will know that Argentina and Chile, there's no love lost in the soccer field. And just this week, we've seen Chile was outed from World Cup qualification in soccer, and that's after 2 years of them defeating Argentina as Latin American champions. So, there's quite a bit at stake here. The Argentinians would feel as though they should be on top in one of the rugby codes, but Chile do have that background in league, so they're coming here both with a bit of pride at stake on either side. Looking at these two packs as they pack down, you'd have to say Chile has a weight advantage, definitely a much bigger pack. The hooker Espinosa is 118 kilos for starters, which is probably 20 kilos bigger than most hookers in the NRL. And then that front row, a couple of players there are up around the 130. As I said, Edu Egner in the second row and Francisco Leiva would have to be close to 120. So huge pack. Oh, and they've spread that wide. Jamie Santander is cut down. Cecil Yao in at hooker filling in. Gets the ball wide to Horvat. Out to De Montecristo. And he's taken down. Oh, Espinosa out of hooker. This could be dangerous, but they've caught him. For quite a big man, he's a nimble man as well. So one off the ruck, De Montecristo. As mentioned earlier, he's got size and power and a very good background in rugby union. I understand he's played under 23 Chilean rugby union, but he's running a bit too close to the ruck at this time, which is making it easy for the Argentine defence to pick him off. They seem to like working to this corner, Chile. Now, Horvat with the kick. He's picked that back up. Handed that out. So Espinosa's got it there. Wearing 13 but playing 9. Okay, will Argentina come up? Yep, they pick again. De Montecristo in tight to the ruck, but easily handled. We need the Argentinian side to maybe condense a little around the right of the ruck. Horvat sees an opportunity. Straight out to Zessel Yao on the wing, who I mentioned. He's running good lines, Zessel, for someone who hasn't played a lot of rugby league. He's more from a rugby union background. And that's a second forward pass in that corner that would have led to a try. And you can see that the Chileans are getting a bit frustrated. Even though they're ahead 4-0 and they've had what feels like 80% of possession, they are getting a little bit hot under the collar, especially Horvat there at 5'8", who tends to be a bit of a fiery player in most situations. So it's one side to his competitiveness, and sometimes it serves him well and sometimes it does land him in a bit of hot water. And the referee's having a word to both about forming their scrums a little better. He's almost lost his voice after this is the fourth day. The fourth game in 2 days. So again, Cosso out wide, throwing people off. So Ariel Bordeaux feeds it out. Oh, nice ball. This is a lot of what we saw yesterday. So that's Dario Moyano hitting the ball there. He does run a good line inside and out of Facundo Liz's way. And we're seeing a handover while in possession here. So Horvat's tried to take the quick tap, but he's called back. Oh, and now he's calling both captains out to have a word. While he does that, I'll just run through and say a very big thanks, particularly to Intergas Services, who are the main main company in bringing this live stream to you. They're the first to plump up On top of our normal sponsors who include Guzman and Gomez Mexican Taquerias, they've been our major sponsor of Latin American Rugby League for 4 years. Shield Security and Tattoo Tears have also been big sponsors. Others helping bring this telecast to you include Cast Graphics, LS Tax and Accounting Services, Retrocom Digital TV Specialists, Colombianos in Brisbane, GMA Tourism, EMSA Migration Services and Education, Licknow and Associates Accountants, The Edge Home Loans, Oakey North Lodge, CFMEU, Active Rehabilitation Physiotherapy, Radio Austral, and Fighting for Fitness Gym. But as I mentioned, Intergas Services is the one who first got this underway with fundraising for this game. Oh, and you can see Pierre Dera is trying to go over the top of the ruck there. I wouldn't advise that. He's lucky he didn't give away a penalty there. A few people hitting the deck in back play, and that's another measure of that feeling that exists between these two teams. Mana Castillo, Sionu, big bump off there, running back from fullback. He is a big fullback. Oh, and Horvat straight onto that. His support play is one of the measures of his match. Aldo Di Montecristo with a bit more room to move. Well, that's probably the biggest player on the field up against the smallest. But Gabriel Barrera is not taking a backward step. A looping pass to Piero Diaz. Strong run. He's a bit of a gym fanatic, Piero Diaz, so you can see it pays off. Oh, straight up the centre. Matios Fernandez. Oh, and he's passed that. It's gone into the hands of the Argentinian player who's played at it. 6 again. Instead of complaining, they should probably get up. They should probably get in that defensive line and try and stop this attack. Espinoza, a second dummy half run in a row, and he's crossed for his first try of today. That's his 4th try in 2 days. Again, he scored a hat-trick yesterday, jumping out of hooker. He's having played for quite a few years in Australia with Griffith Dragons, and he's also been a Queensland and Latin Heat representative on multiple occasions. He's a former captain of the Latin Heat, so he's got a feel for when he can see gaps in the defence and when the numbers aren't stacking up. We did have a kicking tee for the earlier game between Brazil and Colombia, the third place playoff, but it seems James Horvat is electing to do the old dig a hole in the ground and chip it over. He's having it seems Horvat is having a chat with the referee again. He's complaining about getting hit in the chin, what he considers deliberately. Okay, and that conversion is good, so they're going to move ahead 10 points to 0 in favour of Chile. As I mentioned, there are quite a few delegates on the sideline. There is Fanny Sareva, who's travelled down from El Salvador to be here. We also have Mauricio Villa, who is on the Chilean Chamber of Commerce, and that's a body which interacts and promotes business between the eastern side of the Pacific and the western side. So he resides in Australia, but is on the Chamber of Commerce both there and in Chile. So he's here to help see if he can promote this sport a little more throughout the Chilean region. There's an offside there from the kick. So Horvat received the ball, touched it, and went forward to Di Montecristo. Quick tap from Argentina. They've caught them offside. We're going to see a lot of this. Argentina love this fast play and spreading it. He's tapped that. Oh, and he's taken into touch 2 metres short of the line. That's got to frustrate coach Pablo Aguilera. He's a very enterprising coach, and he operates in a competition around Buenos Aires, which is primarily run for people from the lower socio-economic regions, and they see a lot of potential with what rugby league can achieve for the sport around Buenos Aires and that northern region of Entre Rios. He's spoken quite fondly over the weekend about the role he believes rugby league can play in the lives of these players and giving them something to work for. So we see quite a few parallels with how the game developed in England and in Australia as well. Oh, no, the ball goes wide there, out to Farek Cabezas. More than one in the tackle there. More than one in the tackle, and he's stripped the ball. Oh, Horvat, he could get himself in some bother here if he keeps complaining to the referees. He's saying Argentina player was offside off of their quick tap before. But he's probably best focused on the game at hand. Very talented player, James Horvat, but if he lets things get under his skin too much, it might put him off this match. And at 10 points to 0, I wouldn't say that Chile has this in the bag at all. Argentina quite capable of scoring some quick points. They spread it wide to that big man, De Montecristo. Espinosa comes into hooker. Oh, this is a decent run here. That's Taylor Salas. He's one of these players that had a crazy haircut before the game. He's decided to shave it all off now. So he's had 2 cracks at the Clippers over this weekend. Horvat, he's read that, split his man, and straight up the middle. They better wrap his arms up here, otherwise, it's good work by the Argentinians, driving him back, but he's probably pushed that on too far. And this is one of the things of the Argentinian players coming from a union background. Not all of them are accustomed to the quick release around the ruck. His arms under the ball. He's probably going on with that a bit too much. I think referee Perez is being a bit lenient here to try and encourage them. Great chase. Zessel Yao, can he pick this up? Good pick up there. I think that's Moyano back there. Facundo Lizazway. Oh no, they've been trapped there. So Lizazway was going into dummy half, but he was trapped on the other side of the try line. So time for a dropout. And we can hear on the sidelines the Argentinian coach are questioning the decision about why that's a dropout. They thought that was in the field of play, but referee Perez quite clearly on top of that with a good view. Okay, and fullback Castillo Sione has got the ball. Good wrap up there by the Argentinian captain Juan Ignacio Canepa. Looks like they might have been hurt there, Castillo Sione. Taylor Salas takes the ball forward once more. Ariel Bordeaux is doing a heap of work there. You can see he's got that little ponytail man bun, and both in attack and defence. He's certainly rolled up his sleeves. Oh, Piero Diaz, he's got that out, but no, the referee says you were held first, take the ball back. We can see number 14, Christian Alvial, has gone onto the field. He is one of the longest serving players in the Chilean domestic situation. He's been there since pretty much they first set this up. They did have their first Superliga season this year, but they have been playing sort of like a round robin and exhibition games beforehand. Espinosa, he's going to be a hard man to stop there, but they've done a good job. Horvat kicks out. And he's calling that a changeover, I believe. I know, it's going to be a scrum. It's come off the Argentinians after the kick by Chile. Yep, and the word has come through there from the touchy that has bounced forward off of an Argentinian player. You can't quite tell with the trees here, but it's been a little bit windy the last 2 days out here at La Cancha Seven Rios. Yesterday, I would say, was windier and colder. Certainly the temperature drops quite rapidly over the course of an afternoon in Chile. It's a little bit like you would say sort of like a desert climate almost, in the sense that it's very, very hot and stark during the day, but as soon as nightfall comes, it can be very, very cold, chilling to the bone. A few of us here that were packing up after yesterday's first day of games, we were freezing, trying to huddle near the sheds as we waited for the bus to come and collect everyone to take them home. Well, I don't know if that's a clean pack from Espinosa at lock, but Castillo Sione, he's read those numbers well, and he's over for a try. Just a bit of background on Castillo Sione. He's one of the most unique players in International Rugby League. He has a Chilean mother and a Papua New Guinean father. So there's not many circumstances you'd think that a Chilean would get to meet a Papua New Guinean in everyday life, but Mana's the product of that, and he's quite a very educated young man too. He's going through university at the moment. He's only 19 years of age, and a level-headed man. You could see they're both in that situation, but he also is within his life and quite big ambitions to go ahead. And I imagine after this trip over to Chile, he's probably going to want to do and assist the people in Chile in some way to take this game forward. He's based usually in Sydney and played his juniors our mascot. So it's 14 points to 0 to the Chileans. We've had a short drinks break there. Oh, Espinosa causing some damage out of dummy half. Oh, he's saying no, not held, play on. They've wrapped him up, but not convincingly. Really, they've got to get that three-man wrap and peel sorted out. Oh, strong tackle. That's Fernando Lopez there with the tackle. So I guess for those of you who take an interest in Emerging Nations Rugby League, we've seen here a pretty good standard of rugby league when they've got the ball and they're playing with fluency. I think where both teams are falling down a bit is around that ruck area. They're not tidying in defence. Oh, good pick up there. I believe that's Ariel Cosso. He's plucked that straight off James Horvat. Barrera's back into dummy half here. I don't mind that number 5, Fernando Lopez. He's had a couple of good runs in the first few days, and now they're shuffling the ball around. Oh, up the middle. Probably not the man that you want in that situation. They probably need the bigger driving person there rather than your hooker. Oh, another strong run. That is Dario Moyano. Very impressed with the way he's performed over these 2 days. Definitely would like to see some of these players get a chance abroad. Perhaps come to Australia and test their ability. But on the other side, I guess they're important for the development of their homeland. So perhaps we'll see some of these players in the Emerging Nations World Championship next year. I believe Latin America will have a side in that, and they'll be looking to bring across some of the best performing domestic players. Just on the sideline there, one of the touch judges is Andrew Charles, another person with an interesting background. Andrew Charles is previously the head coach of Thailand Rugby League, and now he's officiating in an International Rugby League game. So not sure if that's been achieved before, someone coaching and officiating in an International Rugby League game. Yesterday we saw him, he took the whistle actually for one game to give Juan Perez a break on the sideline, and did quite a good job there. Obviously, he's been with the South Sydney and Central Coast junior system as a coach, Andrew Charles. So he's got a bit of background, bit of experience, loves his rugby league, and he's come over here, again, paying out of his own pocket to do so and assist the international game. Wegner juggles the ball. Chile's back attacking that their left side, Argentina's right side. Oh, that could be an injury there. Piero Diaz he's been crunched. Now, Argentinian fans they're on this side of the field, the camera side of the field, and they're cheering quite loudly at that injury. The Chileans have taken a bit of offence, and now they're rallying their fans. We can see the doctor coming onto the field now. The doctor's actually Brazilian. So we've got a bit of a multicultural affair happening out there at the minute. And with him, with the backpack on, is Ronaldo Sotopadilla. He is one of the main founders of Rugby League in Chile, but he's also a fitness trainer and qualified in first aid. So as we see in emerging nations, he's wearing a few hats today to help out. Okay, Piero Diaz has the ball back and he seems to be fine now. Jonathan Espinosa in at hooker. He's actually formed quite a good friendship, Jonathan Espinosa, with Piero Diaz and his brother Franco Diaz in visiting Chile the last few years, and they tend to lodge together at the same house and hang out quite a bit. So really good to see some friendships striking up from across the Pacific. Come on, Horvat. He's gone up the middle. Oh, Argentina are closing him down, though. He might... Oh, has he got in the corner? It looks like the referee is signalling no, he's lost the ball. I think he might have made a bit of a hash of that play. It seemed as if he went straight and took on the last line of defence. He could have been a chance just to cross next to the sticks, but he's gone out wide, and the referee said he's had no control in placing that ball. So the score remains 14 points to nil. It's up on the 20-metre line. The referee's saying get on with it. Okay, he's given the hooker his options. Giving it wide to Facundo Liz's way. Spread out wide. Nice. Nice passing to that side. I'd like to see them hit around the ruck and test out these Chileans. As we said, they're carrying a bit of weight, some of the Chileans, and by spreading it wide, they're kind of playing into Chile's hands a little, even though they've got these strong players on the fringes. Yes, as we can see. Mistake again here from the Argentinians. So this is the result, that enterprising play that they enjoy often leads to errors early in the tackle count. Oh. We can see Franco Diaz. He's taken objection to something that the Argentinians have said. And probably the two fieriest characters on either side are the Diaz brothers, Franco and Piero, from Chile, and then the Cosso brothers, Gabriel and Ariel, from Argentina. So both brothers in combination can be quite a handful. This is Chilean captain Francisco Leiva having a chat about the conduct regarding some of his players, whether they've escalated the situation. Franco Diaz being called out. As we say, he played a central part in that kerfuffle. He's got his hands behind his back, aka James Graham, listening intently to what the referee has to say. But there is a real danger here at 14 points to nil that Chile could get complacent and allow their behaviour to sidetrack what seems to be a winning game plan at the moment. You can hear the Argentinian fans on this side of the field are buying into it. They're definitely trying to spur their players along. Okay, seems like that's been sorted amicably. And we get on with it. Penalty to Argentina. Ariel Bordo with the tap. No, he's handed the ball over. Looks like Facundo Liz's way with the kick. He's going to gain a couple more metres. They've got about another 20 there. Good decision in the long run. We've seen they like the quick tap, but sometimes you have to work for field position also. Okay, meanwhile the Chile has condensed their defence up. You can see quite a few of them standing shoulder to shoulder. There's a gap there you can see in between Espinosa and Horvat. I wonder if they're going to hit that. Oh no, he's hit outside that shoulder. And Horvat, being one of the stronger tacklers, he's dominated that and worked him on the ground. And the ref says no, That's too much. Oh. The referee hasn't let the quick tap go ahead. He was still taking it back to the mark. Oh, and he's marched James Horvat for 10 minutes. This is that constant chatter we've had between them. He obviously wants to establish some sort of control out there, referee Juan Perez. And he's just sent perhaps Chile's most influential player off the field for the 10 minutes stint on the sideline. That'll be interesting for how Chile handles this in attack. I've got no doubt they'll form up in defence, but they're not overly congruent in attack without... Oh, he's worked his way over. Fantastic. So Argentina are on the board. That should say 14 points to 4 there on the scorecard. Okay, and I believe that's Dario Moyano, who we've been talking about early in the piece. His running is quite strong, and even when he's tackled, he gets those post-contact meters that everyone seems to talk about these days. As they line up for the kick, again, we'll just give a special shout out to the people that have supported us, because without them, this really is not possible. So we'd like to thank Guzman and Gomez Mexican Taquerias for their 4 years of support behind Latin American Rugby League. We'd like to thank Shield Security, who've been there for, I think, 3.5. They've always been our silver sponsor. Tattoo Tears, Uruguayan-owned tattoo company, which puts in great money and also does some fantastic Latino tattooing if you're ever looking to get some traditional Latino tats. Cast Graphics, who do all sort of banners and jersey designs, etc. for the team. They're fantastic with their graphic work. Intergas Services, that's run by Mick Mitchell, a rugby league player out of Brisbane, and he's got on board this. He wants to see the game grow. There can't be too much time left in this half, but it looks like Espinoza is going to at least kick off and send this back into the teeth of Argentina, who with the conversion are now behind 14 points to 6. And that's Juan Ignacio Canepa with the ball at fullback. He's quite a fit guy. Caught up with him as the Argentinians were having dinner on day one. And you could... Oh... Gabriel Barrera has... he's surrendered possession there. He's not got that clearly. You can see on the right of screen there, the coach, Pablo Aguilera, the stocky bald man that walked into frame, throwing his hands up in the air in a bit of despair. This will be a good experience for Argentina, no matter which way the outcome goes, because they are much newer to the sport of rugby league in a 13-man sense. They've played nines predominantly over there, and their competition is not as regular as Chile's played, and there's not as many Argentinians living in Australia either, so they don't have sort of an Australian-based core to learn from. There's only, say, half a dozen players who are Argentinian descent who've played with the Latin Heat team, and most of them sort of on the fringes. So there's one very good player, Argentinian player based out of the Central Coast, Daniel Navarro, but he has not made the trip over for this contest. He's got university and he's quite dedicated in that respect. So unfortunately he can't be here today to assist his team, who are relying on 100% domestic players from Argentina. Chip from Castillo Sione. The fullbacks covered that well. And again runs back. They're throwing it wide again for their sake. Hold on to the ball would be the mantra, but no. Ariel Cosso's come out the back. Looks like they're carrying on with this a bit in back play too. Is some sort of MMA move going on there. Just see who that is in the headgear. Yes. It could have been Luis Pizarro there on the ground having a wrestle with with Gabriel Barrera, Gaston Barrera. And now they're under the post. As I said, the clock is counting down. I think we'll be inside the final 5 minutes of this half. And Chile in dangerous position. 14-6 is gettable. A try here would hurt. Espinosa bounces out, but wrapped up in the second attempt. They should have tried to hold him down a little bit longer there, would be my recommendation. Piero Diaz. Oh, a little flick out the back to Zessel Yao. Liking both of those. Two, as mentioned earlier, domestic players. So they've got a bit of spark about them. They've gone the blind. Not the greatest option there. That's Wegner out there. Oh, they're flying that over the top. 18 is the captain, Francisco Leiva. Oh, De Monte Cristo, Piero Diaz. Out to Matios Fernandez. Piero Diaz in at hooker. Oh, he's been charged. Yes. Referee's picked that up. That hooker not standing square. He's tried to come through too quickly there.
You're getting 10.
Here's referee explaining why that was a penalty there. Some of these players, they watch a lot of NRL on TV, but it's one thing having a referee who's controlled the game under those rules, and it's another thing watching it on TV. So they're having a little bit of difficulty adjusting, I think, the Argentinians to how they should be around the ruck because they haven't had this refereeing back home. Piero Diaz out. That is great defence on the line there. Fantastic effort. Oh, and we've seen that play again from Espinosa. He's got that little wombat-like stature, and he's burrowed out of dummy half. He's very lowly built to the ground, and they find that difficult to contain. I think that the Argentinians they're wondering why he's allowed to score in that position. They don't quite understand that he's allowed to burrow out of dummy half as long as he doesn't go through the centre of the ruck. So Captain Canepa having a word with Juan Perez. But conversion to come in front. It's 18 points to 6 in favour of Chile. At the moment, on the Rugby League International Federation standings, Chile is ranked 36th. You would expect after a big win yesterday over Brazil, and we're staring at the possibility of them beating a fairly strong side in Argentina in this part of the world, that they'll shoot up the rankings. So that conversion is good from Espinosa. And that's 20 points to 6, which is a fairly comfortable lead at this stage of the game. I think everyone here at the ground will be hoping for Argentinian revival to spur some interest. Good contact there. And that's probably another facet of this game that and this whole tournament is that these players are not afraid of the body contact. They might get some things wrong, but in terms of having the bravery and the stature, the build to compete around the ruck in that initial contact, they're built for it, and they've got the ability. These boys aren't little boys, and they've got a mindset that they enjoy the contact play. So anyone who thinks South Americans and Latin Americans general own... And he's taken over the sideline there. It looks like the Argentinian ball player rocketed down there, but got taken into touch. And I think that's quite a few plays. It's quite a few plays now where Argentina have been taken into touch. So now that we're into the second half, it's their chance to come back. The sun is coming down to the left of screen for you, the viewer. So that'll be shining in the Chileans' face in this half. Might be a chance for Argentina to send a couple of high balls up. And we can see here the referee at half-time, he's been fitted with a GoPro camera on his head. And I believe
Andy, tell him to push the
that
GoPro down a little
that's
bit.
going to be given to both the coaches after the match, so we'll assist them in the finer technicalities of the game and how they can teach their players to improve. So quite an innovative way to expand the game. This is Castillo-Sioni shrugging off some strong players there. That's another good run. This looks like Franco Diaz in at hooker. Very big for a hooker. They've definitely got some size around the centre of the ruck. That looks like Dario Moyano with the tackle over the top. Actually, I think that might have been Gaston Barrera. The ball's been kicked backwards here. That could have been dangerous for Chile. The ball was just bobbling around in back play. And referee Perez says that is Argentinian feed, I believe. So it's come off Chile in dangerous territory.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, let's just make sure this is going to be an Argentinian feed because it could be quite handy for them in this territory. Can they catch them out here? This would inject a lot of spark back into the game if Argentina could cross. Liz's way. Oh, it's probably not the wisest pass there. He's thrown that in front of his men in traffic and forced the knock on. So probably the second man out the back would have been the good option there, or even hold on to it. Something we don't often train for enough is you have sometimes in a situation you've got 3 to 4 options, and quite often the best one is to hold it and go your own. Obviously not when you're on an overlap in scoring position, that's not a good idea, but in the centre of the ruck sometimes it can get you one-on-one if you've got enough support players. 2 men, and they've raked the ball. Again, it's that ill discipline from Argentina. They get very tempted to reef the ball out around the ruck where they probably should get on with it after a decent tackle, and just play for the next few tackles till they get the ball back. Otherwise, they've just let Chile walk into their territory again, which is going to hurt, you would expect. They're marking up in defence. You can see Gaston Barrera eager to tackle them. Gabriel Venturelli onto the field. Nice strong run there from him. Showed a bit of ability. And this is Piero Diaz. You definitely see that Chile likes to keep the ball more around the centre of the ruck. They are doing a pass shift, but they're running back towards the post. Here's Horvat. He's back from his stint in the sin bin. His 10 minutes is over. They've left that ball. That should be... Personally, I thought that could have been Argentinian ball. It looked to me like Chile just left that laying in the back of the ruck. But referee Perez has the experience and he has the position there. And he's deemed that perhaps Argentinians weren't square in coming over the top there. And he wants a word to the captain and Horvat again. So they still haven't calmed down. I imagine the advice is going to be, you've already been sidelined once, don't do it again or this will be permanent. So Horvat with the tap. He's faked that. And given that to Gabriel Venturelli, who's made some good yardage up the middle. Franco Diaz. Oh, big hit. That's Ariel Cosso. Fantastic shot that. And that's Christian Alviel taking the punishment. Horvat out to Castillo-Sioni, and he's pushed over for his troubles. Not the wisest play there. So if you're joining us late through this telecast, just from day one in qualifying, so the first qualifying game, Argentina 36 beat Colombia 4, but you've got to say in that match, Colombia were definitely worth more than 4 points. They frustrated Argentina a lot, especially in the first half. They had a very fast-moving defensive line, and really, on the measure of things, I think Colombia should have only been, say, 20 points or so behind Argentina and not over 30. They definitely played better than that indicated. I'd say the same of Brazil. They lost 54-8. But where they probably fell down was their teamwork. They had quite a few good individual performances, but as a team, they didn't quite gel. But they had a disrupted preparation heading into that contest. And Chile, to be fair, were very, very well drilled and knew exactly what they wanted to do on game one. So they accounted for Brazil 54-8. At the moment, Chile has the ascendancy 20-6 here against the Argentines. There looks to be an injury, and the medic is on the field at the moment, just off of screen on the left, which is why we've had this hold up in play. I have to be careful with the light here. The sun can drop quite quickly, and due to the number of injuries and stoppages we've had in this game, it's getting closer and closer to nightfall. The referee might have to double that camera on his head as a torch later in the game, if it gets much darker. All right, so just again trying to clarify some of the rules as they're in the ruck. We see this quite often in emerging nations games, just trying to pass on a little bit of experience so the players can improve over the course of a game. This is a huge opportunity for the sport in Latin America, and what will happen from here, aside from us deciding a champion of the sport, will mean we're going to have, say, 80 or so ambassadors of the sport travel home from Los Angeles in Chile to their respective nation or their respective hometown, and then describe the experience they've had and the enjoyment they've had within the sport. We've already seen Colombia and Brazil, who played the earlier third-place playoff. They're celebrating on the sidelines and enjoying each other's company. And I think from their perspective, even though they didn't finish in the top two, they will take back some strong memories from this event and be keen to make amends. Horvat being a bit cheeky and coming across the back of the scrum when the ball wasn't really out there. He's not going to die wondering, Horvat. He's definitely testing the patience of the umpire. Liz's way spreads the ball. Ignacio Canepa. He still looks a bit tentative. He did pick up a rib injury, cartilage injury on day one, and he's decided to play on with it, but he does look tentative compared to his normal free-running style, which is it's a bit of a hamper for the Argentinians having your captain in that position. They have got 5 or 6 players not playing that are on the sideline that they could call upon, but they've chosen to go with the injured skipper to add his experience. Good defence there from Argentina. If they can back that up a few times, they'll get themselves back in. Yep. Over the top. He's lost that ball, I would say. No. Oh, and I think they've got him for a second effort there. Argentinian coaches and players not happy. They think the last few interpretations have gone against them, at least. And then Horvat's, he's kicked that quite a far way along the sideline. Will we see another attacking raid? Can they hold the ball on this one, Chile? Oh, he's tapped that. He's got to play on. His runners weren't ready, but he tapped that early. And the Argentinian defence was upon him. Out to Piero Diaz. He moves through the ruck. They haven't stopped him. Oh! That'll be a bit of a controversial try, I imagine. Argentina are going to say we stopped the momentum, but you could see he was never quite halted there. And that's Piero Diaz displaying some of that strength that he works so hard in the gym on. You can see his Instagram snaps are definitely chock full of dumbbells and barbells. And he works as a prison officer here in Chile, so it's probably in his interests to have such a athletic build. But he's made that work for him, and rather than pushing over inmates, he's pushed over the Argentinian defence. And Chile skips ahead again at 24 points to 6. So this, rather than bridging the gap, it's getting larger at this point in time. Not what many would have expected. And conversion is good. So that will go up to 26 points to 6. Argentina with quite a task in front of them. They did come here and you could tell with the way they were preparing, just the way they were on the training field and the way they've been around camp, that they really did fancy their chances, Argentina. And
These Argentinians.
they've got a bit of pride at stake. They've been by far the strongest rugby union team in this part of the world for a long time. And for them to go home without winning the rugby league title, it might sort of make them lose face a little bit. So there's a bit of anger creeping in, and definitely they're competitive to try and amend this result. Horvat pops it out the back. Oh, I wouldn't advise that. Play on. Oh, good run there. That's Ignacio Traversa almost getting across out wide. We saw some good runs from him, particularly against Brazil, but he's been a little bit quiet today. Oh, into a gap. Could he be? No, he's pulled down just short. Multiple penalties there. Oh.
Gone.
And those repeated infringements have led Franco Diaz to be sent to be given 10 minutes in the bin. So that's 2 lots of 10 in the bin for Chile. He was among those players that was infringing in the ruck earlier in the game too. So maybe referee Perez has kept that in his mind. Gee, if I was the hooker here, I'd be looking to the right of that post. A good opportunity. No, he's gone wide. Having seen Espinosa score as many tries as he has from dummy half the last 2 days, I think the Argentinians might want to have a crack themselves, and they have. They've worked there. He's called held. He's got to play that. Short of the line. Has he crossed? No. Referee says held up. That hasn't touched the grass, and again, Argentina are just inches short, which has kind of been the story of today. It'd be interesting to see where Argentina debuts on the international rankings. The comprehensive win over Colombia will help them, but being their second game today in a 13-a-side rugby league will be interesting to see how they rank against teams like El Salvador and Uruguay, who've been playing in Australia for 2 years now. With heritage players, they're all qualified to play for El Salvador and Uruguay by rights. Oh, and that's Facundo Liz's-way. Under the post, this player has some talent, and he's taken the kick straight away. a drop kick, but the referee wasn't even looking. So he's saying he's already kicked it, but they don't understand the rules here. And Chile themselves are in front of the post. So again, he's just got to regain a little bit of understanding from the players, so they know what's involved here. The Argentinian trainer hasn't helped matters there by kicking the ball away. They obviously want to get on with it and use what time they have available. The referee, with the absence of the tee, which was here earlier but seems to have gone walkabout, the referee's allowed him to take a drop goal there. So quite a good kicker. We've seen some good drop kicks from Liz's way in the first few days, and he's made no troubles with that. In fact, he's kicked it twice. So good effort there. We're probably into the last quarter of the game now, and 12 points to 26 is, again, it's not a out of the question equation for Argentina, but they definitely need to tighten things up. They can't be throwing the ball around aimlessly without it giving them some advantage. I mean, he's just going to shoo this off the ground. Oh, this is Gabriel Cosso. Really impressed with him. I would say over the 2 days, he's been one of the players that stood out that could definitely have a place in Emerging Nations Championship. Facundo's probably the other one there, handling the ball on. Again, this hooker, while he hasn't done anything, oh, geez, that's a tough hand over there. The captain couldn't handle it. But I was just saying about the hooker there, he hasn't done anything, I guess you would say, outstanding, but everything he's been called upon has been quite clinical. And the way he comes into dummy half, he follows the play well. Oh, that's a good testament to their spirit, the Argentinians. Fighting to the end, strong defence. Ball's out to Castillo Sione, and he's carving up the centre of the ruck. Can he get the ball free? No, Argentina have locked him up. Plays the ball, Horvat into dummy half. He's difficult to stop there, but he's going to try for... No, he's not allowed to fast play the ball.
Offside.
Never got back to 10. That's what the referee is saying. He's saying the defender was offside. Bit of a little niggle there. You've seen the last few plays between Argentinian's captain Ignacio Canepa there, standing with his hands on his knees, and James Horvat. They've brushed shoulders a few times over the last few sets. I guess both playing a similar role for their team. They've both got that rangy, directional and support role. Okay, and we can see here there's two of the Argentinian support staff coming back across the field. I think they've just been handing out drinks in between the penalty. And James Horvat kicking for distance. Okay, and they just have to retrieve that ball. We had a pile of balls on the sideline for day one to throw back into play, but we've seen quite a few of those balls go walkabout overnight, which I guess for rugby league is some ways a good sign that some kids, they've got footballs at home now, so they'll be able to play with them in the backyard. But it's left everyone a little bit short of footballs for this, and you can see every time they kick for touch, they're going to have to go and fetch that ball back. So no doubt this game ball will be under strict lock and key. Out wide to Espinosa, pirouettes out, gets the ball off, but bit scrappy there. And Perez has said that one of those was a knock-on. Probably fair to say one of them would have been. There was a few little mishandles around the pickup. Scrum goes down. And Argentina have it. Will they spread it? Of course they will. Oh, confronting defence there, but equally strong in the run. And of course, that's one of the Cosso brothers that we've been talking about. That's Gabriel Cosso. Strong run back up the middle. That is Dario Moyano, who we've seen quite a few runs of. I'd definitely like to see more of him under a setup where he's receiving the ball in really good position. He's quite a tough man to stop, and he runs a fantastic line. Okay, at the moment, Argentina retaining possession. Getting themselves set here for something. And they're going to elect to kick for a little bit of extra distance. And that's been successful. We've seen one or two over the past 2 days of the championship not find touch, which does happen a bit at the amateur level. But so far in this final, both these teams are making a good fist of it and making good ground off their kicks for touch. Oh, Liz's way past Espinosa, beats 3 or 4, running strong. So he's beaten one of the most experienced Chilean players there. I would go to the left here. Seems to be some room on the edge. Gone back right into a couple of defenders. We can see, I think that's Horvat driving in over the top. He is a good defender for a 5'8", James Horvat. Oh, no. Such a promising position for Argentina, and they've let that come off of their number 21 there, Sebastian Montenegro. What a shame there. Really had the feeling that, if Argentina gets back in 26-18, this turns into an interesting equation with a converted try there, but it's not to be, and Chile has the ball once more. We mentioned that the sun going down, you can see it. That's sort of that twilight hue hitting the trees in the background, so it won't be long until it's going to be hard to see the ball, I'd imagine. Oh, big Eddie Wegner has not stopped trying. I'd say he'd be, after yesterday's performance and today's performance, he'd be close to one of the players of the tournament. He's been both good with his running and with his hands. He's created opportunities for teammates. He's got quick play the balls, and he's ran strongly into the defence when he's needed to. We saw there's a recent Latin American game where he was representing the whole of Latin America against Africa United, and he came in for some criticism after a first half. In that game, the Africans were targeting him, and then he responded strongly in the second half. And I would dare say that he's still got some of that ringing in his ears, and he'll be here to prove a point. He's a good player, and he wants to display his best. Espinosa into dummy half once more. Will he run? Oh, they're shooting early, but no, he's let that play on. Again, Wegner taking a tough one up the middle when no one else was available. I think they need to get this a little bit wider. Argentina good out of marker. I think they're very fast, but perhaps a little over-enthusiastic out of marker sometimes in that. Ooh. He said Piero Diaz has lost that ball. Another opportunity to Argentina here. Time to pack down once more. And, well, you'd imagine Coach Rodrigo Milla will be happy with his performance to this point in time, and especially if they walk away with the win. He will be frustrated at how the play is broken down sometimes. They haven't completed a lot of sets in the second half and had 2 people sent to the sin bin at different times. So Gabriel Cosso wrapped up. Oh, I don't know about that. James Horvat came into lock over the top, which is fair, but then Gabriel Cosso's brother Ariel has run in and got him in a headlock over the top. They've shaken hands. Oh no, the referee has given him 10 on the side. He said you can't do that. They might consider it a little bit strict, but you definitely wouldn't see that in any of the experienced nations. Another attacking player coming in and getting their defender in a headlock. So maybe referee Perez feels that they need to settle down on both sides here. And as he's already had one Chilean in the bin, he has to be fair here. So while Ariel Cosso goes to the bin on the sideline, they take the play back to where the infringement occurred. It's going to be a tap here. Look at this big gap out on the right here outside Gabriel. Oh no, they're filling in there. Jonathan Espinosa, good turn under there. That's Gabriel Venturelli. Oh, looked like he didn't pick that up cleanly. Horvat back inside to Aldo de Montecristo. What's happened here? Oh, they're wrestling in the background. This is turning from rugby league into MMA, which we know the South Americans, they love the MMA, so why not combine the two, hey? Captain Ignacio Canepa obviously frustrated at this point in time. You can feel the game slipping away. His players struggling with discipline and an understanding of the finer points of the ruck. So you could see him shaking his head there, but he's quite an amiable figure. Is one Ignacio Canepa, so he understands and he gets on with it. Chile are taking a world of time, really. They're wasting time here, having a chat, and I don't know if that's really on. Okay, referee saying get on with it. Come on, or you'll have to surrender possession. Oh, and it looks like James Horvat there in 6 has copped an injury in a place you'd prefer to be kept untouched. Eddie Wegner, big charge into the line. We've seen him setting the platform time and time again. This looks to me like Piero Diaz lining up outside of Horvat. Espinosa's seen a gap behind the ruck and he's run a good 10 metres there. You could just see sort of 5 metres to either side of that right-hand post. There was no defender and Espinosa spotted that out of the corner of his eye. And with a jink in behind the ruck, oh, look at the hooker there. He doesn't want to give the ball to Horvat, does he? They're still having words. But now that score is up to 30 points to 12. And we're into the final minutes of the game. Conversion by James Horvat, who we've seen plenty of in this game. A lot of good, a little bit on the niggly side, but he's been very, very influential. Oh, and the coach, you could see there, Pablo Aguilera walking along the sideline trying to calm his staff and his players down. They're not happy, again, with the way that some of the decisions have been made, but in fairness, I think referee Juan Perez he's done pretty well here. And this will all come with experience. They'll learn from this. They'll come back strong. I have no doubt that in years to come, Argentina will be a very fearsome prospect, not just in South American Rugby League, but in the Americas in general. We know that there's going to be 2 teams from the Americas qualify for the 2021 World Cup, and there'll be a third place that could possibly sneak in. And people, I guess at this stage, are expecting it would be Jamaica, Canada, and USA go in. But Chile and Argentina are going to have different designs on that. And not only that, I mean, we've really seen, from what the Brazil and Colombian teams showed earlier, they're not going to be pushovers. And you've got to remember, both those countries have got tens of millions of people living there. They're not small countries. I mean, Brazil has 210 million people, I believe. It's one of the top 4 or 5 populated countries in the world. Probably top 10 populated countries in the world is Brazil. And if they can just tap into a few more people there, they've got the size. And Argentina is a country of around 40,000, I believe, 40 million. And they have more than 110,000 registered rugby union players, which is per capita is quite a good number in terms of people on the street playing a contact sport. They can just get a fraction of those over to rugby league. The potential's enormous. We know that Argentina made the top 4 for the last Rugby Union World Cup. So if they can transpose that over to rugby league, great possibilities there. Eddie Wagner into the defence. That light is starting to fail. De Monte Cristo picks up the ball, has a go again. I'd like to see De Monte Cristo, work off some wider plays and just accelerate through the feet. Oh, and he's called full time. James Horvat has thrown the ball in the air, and Jonathan Espinosa celebrating. He scored 6 tries in the end over 2 days. You can see the Chilean fans streaming onto the field. The officials on there as well. They love their chanting in this part of the world. Argentina, you can see them milling around. And Francisco Leiva, the Chilean captain, is reminding his players, please congratulate the Argentinians on a hard-fought battle first. But obviously they're going to enjoy this over the coming days. The Chileans, the first official Latin American champions under full Rugby League International Federation rules, with the restricted interchange, with the 13-a-side rules, 80 minutes a game,